191,000 staff members have been appointed. Although the actual number of the counting officers, the 3 counting officers per voting station, is just under 69,000. As part of our final preparations, the Commission will launch the National Results Center on Wednesday, the 22nd of May. The National Results Center will be based at the Gallagher Convention Center in Midrand. It will house the Commission members as well as representatives of key service providers such as ESCOM, Parliament, and as well as representatives of contestants running in the national sphere of this election. This will also be inclusive of domestic and international observers as well as media houses. The Commission is further pleased to share that a record of 160 organizations with 5,000 observers domestically and from around the world will be observing South Africa's 2024 national elections. About 15 of these observer organizations are international and include the African Union, the Qatar Center's Democracy Program, the International Institute for Democracy and Electoral Assistance, International IDEA. We opened applications for observer accreditation on the 22nd of August last year, and they closed on the 1st of May. Domestic observer groups were briefed by the Electoral Commission ahead of this election, which will also see the participation of independent candidates for the first time in national and provincial elections. International observers will be briefed on the 26th of May. We have also implemented measures to make the voting process more accessible to all South Africans, regardless of physical disabilities. Voting officials will assist voters who require assistance on voting day. Working with the South African National Council for the Blind, we have developed a voting aid, which we call the Universal Ballot Template, to increase chances of confidently and confidentially exercising the right to vote. The UBT, that is short for the Universal Ballot Template, can be used by blind and partially sighted persons, persons with low vision, persons with an unsteady hand, the elderly, and even people with low literacy levels. People with motor and nervous conditions which do not allow for a steady hand can benefit from the use of this universal ballot template. Now, in these elections, voters are to vote at the voting station where they are registered. It is therefore appropriate that ahead of the election we remind voters of the general rule in election. And that general rule is that a person votes at the station where they have been registered. The only exception to the general rule is that a voter may vote outside of their registered voting district only after notifying the Chief Electoral Officer. Notifications in this regard will close on Friday, May 17. As of today, just under 200,000 notifications have been approved. So I think this is important because it may also have implications for some of you who may be on duty on election day. So do make sure that if you have not applied for a special vote, you have an opportunity to vote wherever you may be working by ensuring that you notify us of your intention to vote elsewhere. So we call on registered voters to check their voting station ahead of Election Day. A number of channels are available to assist voters with checking their registration. You can check your registration details by SMSing your ID number to the number 32810, using Voting Station Finder application, which is on our website, or by phoning our contact center on 0800 11 8000, or by using the IEC app, which is downloadable on App Store or the Google version. So it is quite important that voters know ahead of Election Day where they are registered, because they may not vote anywhere else but at the voting station where they are registered. So it's important that these channels are used to ascertain the correctness of their stations. We call on all South Africans, both abroad and here at home, to come out in numbers and exercise their democratic right. We further continue our call to citizens, media members, political party leaders to set a good example and foster an electoral environment based on trust, integrity, and respect for all. The Electoral Commission, for its part, commits to declaring an election outcome based on South Africa's voters' choices. We remind South Africans that counting of votes takes place at each station in the presence of political party agents and agents for independent candidates, as well as observers. There will be a result slip at the conclusion of the count, which will be displayed at that station. All interested are allowed to capture a photo of that official result slip at that voting station using their own gadget. So in this election, there is no plan to transport uncounted ballots from the station to point B, where counting will happen. Both voting and counting will happen at the station. The used ballots will only be transported after a result slip has been concluded at that station. Party agents and agents of independent candidates can countersign the result slip to confirm the correctness of the count attributed to their party. I wish to thank you for your audience.
Thank you so much, Mr. Simon Mabolo, Chief Electoral Officer of the Electoral Commission. I'm going to open the floor for questions. As you raise your hand, introduce yourself and the media house you come from. It's time for questions. David, please just check the hands for me from the back if I don't miss anyone. Thank you. Okay, may I ask that we start from that side of the room and then come this way? I'm going to first take this side and then come and take the second side from myself. Thank you so much. Let's proceed, colleagues.
Okay, thank you. It's Mosichimome from the SABC. CEO, you emphasize the fact that counting and all of that will take place at the voting stations. But that is not going to be the case in terms of the overseas voting. Would you agree that that is a real gap in the system in terms of transparency? I see that the EFF has actually asked some of its party agents overseas to actually go to some of these, to the voting stations to act as observers. If you can just comment about that. And then the second thing is that you have a new category of voters, you say, to improve the counting What are some of the challenges that you have faced up until this point that have necessitated this particular move? Thank you.
Thank you. It's Natasha Plurika from SABC News. Mr. Mamabolo, this question is for you. In terms of the international observers, the ATM President Vuyeleti Zungula last week wrote a letter to the IEC regarding ZANU-PF's involvement in observing the elections, and they say that ZANU-PF will undermine the credibility of our electoral process, as they have serious challenges in conducting free and fair elections in their country. What was your response to the ATM? And then, if I'll just bring in Ubabmawe to Mazuri, last week during the training, you and Mr. Shiburi, Mr. Shiburi had said and told journalists in the context of what's happening with the MK party, Jabulani Kumar was saying that he's a real leader and not Zuma. You told journalists that the candidate lists are final. Even though people are expelled from the party, they still remain on the list. Political parties are locked in the arrangements that are made in the context of the ballot papers being shipped overseas. Now, with what's happening in the Constitutional Court, if the Constitutional Court finds that the Electoral Court actually erred in saying that former President Jacob Zuma could actually be a candidate and partake in the elections, what then happens? Does the ballot still remain the same in that context? Thank you.
Junior Commander from Newsroom Africa. There was a judgment by the Electoral Court sometime last month where it basically ordered that there should be more missions that are increased for voters abroad. But the IEC has since approached the Supreme Court of Appeal. Going ahead then with this voting, does it not then present as a challenge to the IEC in terms of fairness and affording everyone the right to vote? But also, there has been a letter that was written to the Electoral Court by a former ANC researcher, where he basically accuses the current chairperson of the IEC and some of the ANC leaders of conspiring to sabotage the ATM. Are you aware of this letter, and will the IEC respond to the Electoral Court? Thank you.
Let's take the last question from the far group, and then we'll get to the next page after the answers. All right?
Hi, good day. It's Kailisha here from SABC. Just a quick one for me, clarity-seeking question. In terms of your observer from abroad and domestically, well, particularly internationally, do we know who's going to head them? I know that AU will be headed by former Kenyan President Uhuru Kenyatta. Others, do we know so far who's going to come through? Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. With that, may I allow the CEO to deal with this batch of questions, and then we'll take the second group from my side. Thank you very much. Dr. Mamabolo.
Thank you very much. The Commission encourages party and independent candidates to appoint party agents even for voting outside of the country. So to the extent that the economic freedom fighters are doing it, it's the right thing. And we want everybody to observe that process so that we maintain a modicum of transparency which is necessary for credibility. So we don't take issue with that. We think that it's an important ingredient in the whole electoral process. Now, once the ballots are, as I indicated, once ballots are back in the country, they will not be opened until the counting commences. And the first order of business at that counting process is to confirm that the seals remain the same. In other words, the seal that left emission is the seal that remains at the point of counting. So there are those verifications. So we are quite comfortable with the controls around the ballots that are cast outside of the country. Why are we introducing counting officers? There are a number of factors at play in that decision. Firstly, we want to improve the quality of the result slips so that they are legible, everybody can read them, and they are free of material error. Secondly, we have taken into account the fact that on this occasion, there's a 50% increase in the burden of counting, because previously in national and provincial elections, you'd count 2 ballots. On this occasion, that effort has to be increased by a factor of 50%. So that's 2. Number 3, the ballots to be counted are generally big. I mean, on the national PR ballot or national to national ballot, there are 52 parties. So the propensity to make errors when you count a ballot of that size increases. Hence, the need to bring fresh minds, fresh hands to improve the quality of the counting process. Yes, indeed. We did receive a letter from Mr. Zungula complaining about the presence of the alleged presence of ZANU-PF. We have nothing to do really as a commission with their presence in the country. ZANU-PF is not an accredited observer mission. The commission has not approved them, has not accredited them. So they won't be observing these elections. And communication in that regard has been made available to Mr. Zungula. The issue about the outcomes of the Concord matter involving the erstwhile president, Mr. Zuma, that the outcome will have no bearing on the ballot paper. As matters stand, Mr. Zuma is the registered party leader of MK Party. And to that extent, he is the person whose photograph is on the ballot paper for MK. Now, whether he is a candidate or not a candidate, it has no bearing on that aspect, because you are on the ballot paper if you are a registered leader of a political party, irrespective of whether you are a candidate or not a candidate in that election. So there won't be any impact really in respect of the ballot paper. Yes, Mr. Kumalo, you are correct in saying that the Commission has filed an application for leave to appeal the decision of the Electoral Court insofar as it relates to using honorary consuls as additional places abroad. The effect of that appeal is to suspend the order of the Electoral Court. So until the matter is ventilated in time and determined in an appeal, the order of the Electoral Court is suspended. So there is, at this stage, until the matter is prosecuted in the appeal, the situation remains as currently. The Electoral Court did send the witness statement that was delivered to the Electoral Court to the Commission. The Commission has written to the legal firm representing the person who deposed to the witness statement and ask them to file a proper application before the electoral court. In other words, a notice of motion with a founding affidavit and all other supporting evidence if there is available. Once that has happened, then the commission will be able to respond to those allegations. But at this stage, there's nothing really more to add other than to say we've written to the law firm and asking them to go to the electoral court on a notice of motion. The last question, I didn't quite grasp from Mr. From Kaelehle, yeah?
Okay.
Yes. Could you just quickly repeat it?
Okay, so I was just saying, so far do we know like the names of the heads of the missions? And this is off cuff, the AU is former president of Kenya, Mr. Uhuru Kenyatta, and the IEC mission will be led by former President Goodluck Jonathan, and the Electoral Commission's Forum mission will be led by the chairperson of the Commission of Zambia. Those are the ones that one can call off cuff.
Thank you so much, CEO. Let me take the last round batch of questions on my side. We said we'll go around the room like that. Okay? We start from that corner and then come this way. Okay. May we please proceed?
Thank you. What is the latest regarding that signature issue involving the NK party, and doesn't the commission, regret imposing that requirement, considering that it's now clear that you do not have the capacity to verify if they are fraudulent or not? And considering the Zuma matter, listening in court, it would seem that the commission still believes that it's not suitable to be a candidate. And when we were here during the last briefing, you were adamant that this is merely seeking clarity. Are you hoping that maybe the Concord can overrule the decision of the Electoral Court and nullify its candidacy? And doesn't the IEC regret, not having Commissioner Love recuse herself, considering that she's getting so much mention in the case where there's perceptions that she could be biased? I think if she had recused herself, possibly there would not be some of the objections that have been recorded. Thank you.
Who's that?
Please confirm your name, please, and the media house you represent.
From UFM.
UFM. Any other hands from this side, or are we good?
Oh, I'm here. Thank you so much. Greetings, CEO. Francis Luamachata from Progressive Independent News Agency. I think my question goes more onto the state of readiness. And in the previous interactions that I had with the Commission, I asked on the National Result Operations Center, where will it be and so on. And now that it has been confirmed, and indeed you did indicate that it will be somewhere central, and it is central. So I need to check, does the current or the National Result Operations Center as it is now meet all the technical requirements? And are there any technical challenges that have been identified in terms of having an effective National Result Operations Center? Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. I'm going to, looks like we've covered our hands. Okay, I see another one. Was just about to close. All right.
Gosnatsi Shazi from Power FM News. Just one question of clarity for South Africans living abroad. Will they also receive 3 ballot papers? The reason why I'm asking, there's a national, a regional, and a provincial. So will South Africans living abroad receive a provincial ballot paper? Just a question of clarity. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm going to proceed to allow the CEO to respond before we close. I'm just about to close the floor. That I see your hand up. I'm not sure what's happening.
Yeah,
All right.
I omitted one question. Regarding at the results center, I had you make allocation for parliament. Exactly who in parliament that? Because my understanding is that the MPs, their term of office will be coming to an end. Is it professional staff? What would be their role? Why do they need to be appointed?
We got you. Thank you so much. But why do I see so many hands? Okay. All right. Okay.
So in this case,
Yes, ma'am.
Linda Damasceno from ENCA. Just a question around security of the ballot papers. Can the IEC tell us exactly how they're being transported, and exactly what happens to those that are overseas once they land? Just if you can just take us into your confidence, and then the local ones as well. After voting is done and counting, who's bringing these ballot papers and taking them back, and the kind of security measures around that?
All right. Thank you so much, CEO. When you respond, we'll be calling it a day. CEO, let's go.
Thank you very much, colleagues. The transporting of the ballots, we are coordinating the movement of ballots with the security agencies. So when they move from one point to the other, they go under security escort. Similarly, the ballots cast outside of the country, they'll come into the country, and via security arrangements, via security escort, they'll be brought here for safekeeping until they're counted on the day following the elections. Will South Africans voting abroad receive 3 ballots? No. Any person who votes outside of the boundaries of the Republic only votes on the national to national ballot. Similarly, persons who are voting outside of their province of registration via Section 24A notifications also receive 1 ballot. Yeah, in other words, if I'm Simon Mabolo registered in Centurion, but on election day I'm voting in Butlokwa in Limpopo, then I can't influence the elections of the people who are registered in Limpopo. I can only vote on the national ballot. Does Gallagher Estate have all the technical, does it meet all the technical requirements? First of all, no facility in the country will readily meet the technical requirements for a results operation center, because these are venues. You know, you get a box which you must then turn to meet your own requirements. But of course, Gallagher is more geared than other facilities. The amount of work in establishing the ROC at Gallagher is minimal in compared to the work that we ought to have done at the Tshwane Results Center. But you can never find a venue which is really issue in type arrangement. You've got to construct certain things. You've got to put AV equipment. You've got to put computer wiring and all related things. The MK signature issue, it's still under police investigation, and we just wish to reiterate our call for the relevant security authorities to expedite their investigation so that the truth can be established, or rather the veracity around the signatures can be established. And that's really where the matter is at the moment. Does the Commission regret instituting the signatures? Well, the short answer to that is that the Commission did not. It is not an innovation that the Commission recommended. It is an idea, an innovation that emerged from the Portfolio Committee on Home Affairs. In fact, for its part, the Commission, even at that point, during the deliberations in the Portfolio Committee, indicated the difficulty that will be visited upon it, having to verify a signature. So really the Commission has been upfront about that issue, and therefore we have no regret. The issue about Commissioner Love, if you don't mind, I think we would want to take, at this stage at least, adopt a very cautious position in respect of that matter, because, as you know, the Concord is still considering the matter. The Concord has called for submissions. On that aspect, it would not be proper, therefore, for me to speak to that at this stage. The role of Parliament in the Results Centre. Parliament has a profound interest in facilitating the first sitting of the National Assembly as well as provincial legislatures. So Parliament has an administration, and members of the administration of Parliament will be at the ROG to receive the list of elected people so as to facilitate the first sitting of the National Assembly. So by Parliament, we do not mean the elected as representatives, but we mean the administration arm of Parliament. And I wish to thank you really for coming over here and for really journeying with us as we march closer and closer to election date. We hope that we'll still be friends even on the 1st of June.
We hope so, yes.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, CEO. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, the 29th is waiting for us, May 2024. That's where we meet and mark our ballots. The CEO did say 1 ballot, 1 mark. Thank you very much. Have a brilliant afternoon. Siyabonga. We've got someone who's lost their keys. They must please go to IEC officials to assist them. Na South Africa, have a good afternoon.
The person who lost the keys, it's a BMW. So no one loses a BMW.
Yeah.
Okay.
We have 3 interviews for you. ECA, and SABC, and just
Okay. No, I will get it quickly.
Okay. All right. Let me ask them quickly for a second.
Yeah.
From here. Let's check these questions on the floor. If they cover, then you can pick them up. Is it fine?